because I cannot see. Yep, my eyes are gone. So Howie Mandel, whenever you're ready, you should be clicking. You should be coming on right now. This is the. I don't understand this, man. I've been. Is that Howie?
Yeah,
Where are you? I don't see you.
it says it's connecting. I'm waiting.
Oh, I love it. It does.
There I
There
am.
he is.
Wow, look at us.
You're the same guy.
It's like a before and a before.
It's before and before, man.
How you doing, buddy? I love you. First of all,
Seconds ago.
well, let me just say something.
Yes,
First
sir.
of all, I am so excited. Congratulations on Mixed Plate.
Oh,
And, I have a prediction. New York Times bestseller.
let's go.
Let's go. I'm telling you.
Thank you, man.
Is a force in the concert world, a force in also the food world. I don't know that people know that, but you know that since I've been your friend and since people say to me, what kind of food do you like? And I had no idea what Filipino food was.
Nope.
I like Filipino food better than a lot of other foods. I don't want to knock anybody, but I'm just saying it. What's the thing?
Howie, Howie,
Go ahead.
tell everybody how you your first time eating Filipino food. Who brought it to your table?
That's what I'm saying. You, right?
It was me.
No, you brought this thing, and it's my favorite thing. And I still, for the life of me, can't remember the name of it. But I've gone into a couple of restaurants, and I'll go, what's the doughy thing with it? It's kind of sweet, and they all know, and they tell me, and now I never. What is it called?
Show pal.
Show pal.
There
You know,
it is.
you're my show pal, but show pal. If you haven't tried it and you're on this thing, I'm telling you, it's better than anything. It's sweet, it's savory. It's I don't know if is that like a main course or is that a side dish?
Like an appetizer that comes out before, but I mean, we eat it like a sandwich for sure. But show pal, everybody, it's just a beautiful sweet type of bread, and then there's like, you know, sweet meat inside there that and I gave it to Howie, and Howie's head exploded.
And I'm telling you, when I have passed the place, well, now with that we're all in quarantine, so I don't walk into places anymore. But the few times it was a year after I tasted it before the pandemic, I would see like Filipino food, and I'd walk in and I'd say, "Give me that," and they go, "Show pal," and I love it.
That makes me so happy because it like for like basically my whole life I felt like I was the ambassador of my mom's food. You know what I mean? And I always wanted to get people to try it. And I was always nervous to get you to try it because it's one thing to even try and get Howie to hug you, and now you got to try and get him to try your food.
Oh,
and he did.
Oh.
Did.
Everything. I feel like I'm your brother. I now, because of you, wash my balls in an empty Cool Whip thing. Is that what is that called again?
That's called Tupperware.
Oh yeah, like my Easter basket that you gave me. Remember you gave me my Easter basket?
Tabo.
Yeah, that's what my tables.
There you go. You know how many, all the Filipinos that are watching right now their heads are exploding right now. They're gonna be like, "Oh my God, Howie knows so much about Filipinos."
Well, I'm friends with Joe Coy, but you know I was there. I told you I was there.
It was for America's Got Talent, right?
No, I was there. I did Deal or No Deal from Manila with Chris Aquino. Do you know who Chris is?
Right.
Yeah.
You did. We're out
for those
there.
that are Filipino that are on here, Chris Aquino is the daughter of the ex-president of the Philippines, and she was the host of Deal or No Deal. And I traveled the world in all these different countries and played Deal or No Deal with the local host. So I got to meet Chris and her family and hung out. I've only been in Manila, but it was probably one of the most joyful experiences. And so is your Netflix special from there, where you got to go home. And just to see, I felt like such pride in the way that they had such pride for you, and the way that you got, like, it was like their king came home.
Oh, thank you. That was so important to me. I was supposed to do a third special for Netflix, and I was like, is there any way I could just show off my country, my mother's country, and show off these people and show how beautiful they are and show a little bit of our culture and our food. And literally, I didn't get any money on that special. That was literally like for me to just promote and get the world to see just how beautiful that country was. And I'm so happy I did, man. That was
But the
fun.
people that I remember about being in the Philippines, it was the most musical place on earth, you know?
It
And
is.
when you, and that, I don't know if what that means to people who haven't been there, but I remember walking into their supermarket and it was like at a certain time of day, all the employees would break into music and dance. It was like a flash mob, but that's what they did traditionally. Like whenever they can get up and sing or do something in the streets or in store, they're so happy to put on a show, and there's just such joy.
It's funny how much they you know, whenever you come from a certain background, there's always something that everyone always like gravitates towards. And I feel like Filipinos gravitate towards entertainment, self-entertainment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we really.
You know, I tried to buy a jeepney. I wanted to drive a jeepney here, but I couldn't get it over. There's because of exhaust reasons. But for those that don't know, it's like a Jeep. It looks like a military Jeep.
Yep.
And they're open on all the sides, and they're so amazingly decorated. It's not a parade, but when you're in one, you feel like you're in a parade. Well, every street in Manila felt like a parade. It's just teeming with people. There's 4 people on every bicycle. I mean, but it looks like fun. You know, a jeepney.
You know those Jeeps, actual American Jeeps that were left there after the war. So
is that what it is?
Well,
also,
yeah.
Jeepney is Filipino for Jeep?
No, jeepney. They put Jeep in jeepney, and then they were researchful. They turned it into a business, a way of transportation.
Wow. So you know, I got to think that. But if you get when things are better and you can travel, I think it's something that people should see. Oh, it's something that people should.
You know, they speak English in the Philippines. They, you know, they're loving out there. They sing, they dance. I mean, it was so much fun. Oh, by the way, when you saw my special, little kid around at the beginning of my special,
you're out. I can't hear you, Joe. You're going in and out.
Oh, no way. Can you hear me? Hello.
Now I can.
How about
yeah. Do you have like bandwidth where you are? You're going in and out. Am I not in?
Hold on. We got time. I'll be right back.
Shelly says speak Filipino. I don't know how to. He can. Who's talking? Hello?
Can you hear me now? How are you?
Who am I talking to?
Yeah.
I do hear you, but you're really like you're frozen.
Oh, no.
Is that your side or is that my side?
I'm seeing all bars on my side. Are you not getting it?
I'm seeing, I think you just away from you. I'm looking at the screen.
How about now?
I see a beautiful mountaintop and a camera. Now I see you. You're just flipping the screen back and forth. I love that you don't know what you're doing, and neither do I technically, but you just touch buttons. Is that better? Is that better? You don't even know what the button is.
Yeah. Our generation is jiggle. Just jiggle it. It's got to work if we jiggle it. Jiggle the phone.
Well, it's like the Fonzie who used to kick the
jukebox.
The jukebox. So we do. This is it. Turn it on. Turn it off. Where are you? Are you in Vegas?
No, I'm in LA.
Oh, right, wow. Wow. So it's exciting. I'm really excited. And today's the day that the book is out. How do they get the book? Amazon?
You go to Amazon Books. You can go to Barnes and Noble. You can go into the store. You can order it. You can go to Apple Books. You can go to Google Books. You can go everywhere. JoeCoy.com, wherever.
I can't wait to read it, buddy.
Man,
I can't wait. Congratulations. And now I'm following in your footsteps. I wrote a book a couple of years ago. I wrote Here's the Deal, Don't Touch Me. About 5 years ago. And I love that process. Did you like the process or was it hard?
Loved it, but it was also therapeutic. I felt like reliving these stories, and there was a lot of things that I had deep down inside me that I didn't know that I had, and getting it out on this book felt really, really good. So it's kind of like a self-help book for myself.
That was hard for me. You know, when I wrote my book about me, you know, I had all these funny stories, and then the editor kind of whittled it down to all my mental health issues. But that's what came out. It did well. It became a New York Times bestseller, and I'm thrilled about it. And it kind of opened up a conduit to other people that kind of need help. So yes. I realized we're not alone in this.
No, we're not. And you know what's crazy? I want to tell the world right now that when this becomes a New York Times bestseller,
It will.
Howie and I are going to invest in and you know what I'm about to say, Howie.
I keep waiting for you to call me on this.
You ready? Can I say it or you want to say it?
No, you say it. Go ahead. Restaurant.
Howie and I are going to invest in a Filipino restaurant.
I swear to you, not because I think it's a great business investment, and it probably is. I don't know that much about the restaurant business, but the food is the best food. It really is. I really love the food, and I think you will too. And it's amazing. I don't know how many people outside of the Filipino community are eating, like everybody knows Italian food, right? Everybody eats pizza and that, or Chinese food. We all have egg rolls. And I don't know that Filipino food has crossed over past the Filipino people.
No, it still is not mainstream. And it'll take somebody like me and someone like
you. Is it about location? Is that why? Like, why is Chinese food so big and Italian food so big, and even Middle Eastern food is big? But
Filipino just doesn't get the representation and love that it deserves, and I really want to put it on the map. I love it. And there's beautiful restaurants out there that I'm trying to promote, but it just doesn't take off. I need to we need to.
Well, maybe it's because the Filipino restaurants are in the Filipino community, so they eat their own. And the thing about Italian restaurants, Middle Eastern restaurants, Chinese restaurants, they're not necessarily, I mean, if you go to Chinatown, yeah. If you go to Little Italy, yeah. But they also exist outside of their own communities. So that's where people, and I don't know that outside, I don't really know. I'm just talking off the top of my head because we're thinking and planning, and hopefully it'll be successful. But I think that you got to do it outside of the Filipino community so they taste it. But you want to be on the edge of because you want you got to make money, you got to make rent money. So
yes,
the Filipinos are the only people that know how good it is right now. And one Jew.
World now. Yeah, before Corona, the pandemic, before this all happened, Howie, and you were always kind of like, one thing about Howie, I want everyone to know this. He's got his mind working on 1,000 projects. And then physically, he's got his hands on about 1,000 projects. Howie does not stop working. If you want to be successful, you really need to follow the Howie Mandel approach to business, because this man, he's got it down to a science, and it's exhausting to watch you work because I don't.
But it's not a science. I'll tell you what it is, and I think that it all goes to mental health. First of all, I have to stay busy because I don't want to be quiet and then have to think about the thoughts in my own head and go out and like you went through writing the book. So that's why I stay busy. But I also learned that we as human beings are our own worst enemies. We overthink things. And I love living by the Nike philosophy, and that is just do it. Just do it. Yeah. If you fall on your face, then you learn something. You didn't fail, but you gotta, the only difference between the people who make it and don't make it are the people who just stop. Or don't do it. The only difference between Elon Musk and you and me is that's what he did and we didn't. Yeah. Not that I want to do it. I'm not really that interested personally in rockets.
And believe me, Elon would probably want to do what we're doing. You know what I mean? So
well, he does. You saw him dance, and you see him go on Joe Rogan's.
Scared to get in front of people and tell jokes or entertain other people. Like the talent that you and I possess is just like such a blessing from God. But you're right, though. When you say, the minute you say, I don't want to do it, it's over. Your dream is done. So don't let that ever happen.
Well, it's also about thinking. The thing is, I think as human beings, instinctually, that's why we're above the animal species, is because we have this great instinct. And we have an idea, but then what we do is we go, okay, that's a good idea. But if I do this, what could happen? Or I remember what happened last time I tried that. So as soon as you start that thinking process, it just shuts it down. So, I've been kind of diagnosed with ADHD, and part of the issues, besides all the negative, is I don't think of ramifications. Yeah. So I just say yes. Mm-hmm. I just say, yes. And if you say no, and most people do say no to things, you got to remember, this is my philosophy. No is spelled N-O, which are also the first two letters of the word nothing. So
Yep.
nothing comes from no. But
Yep.
yes, if success doesn't come from it, then knowledge comes from it. You
Mhm.
can't hurt yourself saying yes. And
Exactly.
as somebody who's a judge on AGT, America's Got Talent, where I think I've seen everything, and then I realize I ain't seen nothing yet. 99% of the success is just showing up and trying it. Just show
Exactly.
up.
To show up. When you say, I think another thing too is when you say yes, there's an obligation to yes. The minute you commit to yes, there's a lot of action and a lot of steps and a lot of investment of yourself and everything to move forward. When you say no, you can just walk away. So it's easier to say no. And I get it,
It
but
is.
that's what you shouldn't do. You should always want to strive forward. And you always
Well,
want
also what's in the future, it didn't happen yet, and you cannot predict the future. And
to.
what happened in the past is your recollection of what. The only thing that's real is now. That's
Yeah.
the only. You live in the now, and if you can live in the now, and that's why I stay busy, then you'll succeed in the now. If you
Yeah.
worry about what might happen or what did happen, there's nothing going on now. Then.
No. That's why when people ask me if I've been staying busy during this pandemic, it's like, yes, I've never been more busy. And I'm pretty sure Howie's been even busier. It's like we can't stay still. I've taken full advantage of being home and being creative.
Well, I followed in your footsteps. I started a podcast, which premieres on April 13th, wherever you can get podcasts.
Oh,
If you go to my Instagram and you click in the bio, you could subscribe and you'll get notifications. I'm real excited about that. We started doing it. We started practicing. I'm doing it with my daughter, just like you work with your son.
yeah,
All the time I see your
brother-in-law.
handsome boy. Pardon me?
I got the whole family in mind. I got my sister running it. My brother-in-law's in it. My son comes on. It's like I keep everyone invested.
Well, that's it. Well, in ours, my daughter is my co-host, Jacqueline Schultz, and we sit all day long, even if it was for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up with the podcast. Me and my daughter will make prank calls. We do challenges. I'll go on Instagram Live like this and get challenges from people on the outside, or people come on and they want to audition for me and they want to sing for me or whatever. So my wife walked in and went, "Who is this for?" And I go, "Just me and Jackie are doing it." She goes, "You should record it." And then somebody said, "Well, if you record it, we can make it a podcast." So we have this podcast where, people can come on, challenge us, be part of the prank calls. Hopefully you'll come on, Joe, and talk to us and have fun. We're really excited about it. I know you've been doing it for years now, right?
I love it, and it's just my way. It's my outlet to just like stay sharp as well. Especially someone like you, Howie. We're always improvising, and that's what I love the most. A lot of our humor comes from just being off the top, and that's what I love the most about the podcast. You can do that. Yeah,
But improvisation is 90% of how you got to live your life. I think that harkens back to what we said. Don't think about it.
yeah.
Just improvise. Just go for it.
River3668 says hi, Howie.
River 8366 is some of my favorite numbers. And liquid.
G-Boss11 says yes is the magic word. So
you see what Preacher is here? Preacher Lawson, one of my favorite comics from AGT. Yep. Preacher?
I love
he's looking at the screen and he goes, "Why is Howie talking to himself?"
I love Preacher.
Yeah, he's so funny.
That's another thing that I want to say about you, Howie. AGT has changed a lot of lives, and Preacher Lawson is I like to call him a good friend now, and I met him through you, by the way, and the world met him through you, and just to see this guy actually buy a house now. He's got a house I think in Atlanta or something like that, and just how happy he is. His mom's there hanging up stuff, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, Howie's dope. Like, that's cool. How does that feel to be?
I have nothing to do with, listen, I love the fact of being on AGT, and it's probably the best job I ever had, because everybody who walks on that stage, like anybody, you don't have to be a comedian, has a hope and a dream. Yeah. And we all do. And again, that's just showing up. Preacher was doing comedy for years before he showed up there. But at that moment, I watched this human being's life change forever. Once, and I always say to comics, I'll walk up, like when when clubs were open, I'll go, you're really funny. Have you ever been on AGT? And they go, oh, I don't think so. Because people are afraid to come on because, maybe they won't win or they'll be criticized. But I always say to them, where are you going to get a shot like that to be in front of 10 million people? And even if you don't win, Preacher went right to the finals.
Yeah, he did.
For me, it was the best act of the year. It really was the best act of the year. But people don't know, our audience, or I think everybody, they don't know what goes into comedy. Yeah. Because like you, they watch you on stage. It's just a guy talking. You happen to be hysterical. It's just a guy talking. But you put a lot of effort, work, and thought into what you do. And it looks easy, so people don't give it the credit it deserves. But the fact is that because of AGT, Preacher is now working his ass off. Yeah. Preacher now bought a house just for showing up. I mean, he happens to be incredibly talented too. But I think every comic, unless they totally went into the toilet, that ever did our show is in a better place after than they were before.
Yep, 100%. And that's another guy that said yes when a lot of people told him no, told him not to do that that show. There's a lot of people that said not to do it. And Preacher was like, no, I'm going to do it. And it's going to change my life. So trust that.
It's not about the four of us that are sitting there and what we say. It's about the 10 million people out there who, even if somebody at our desk doesn't like what you're saying, there's thousands more at home on their couch going, you're an idiot. That's great. How can you say that wasn't funny? I laughed my ass off. So it's about you getting it, and that's what we do all the time. And that's what I miss most about this pandemic is getting in front of a live audience. And I didn't realize, I've been doing it for almost 45 years now. And up until this pandemic started, I think the longest I ever went without standing in front of people live in the room is 2.5 weeks. Is the longest.
Wow.
And now this year is killing me. It really is. I didn't realize how I needed it.
But yeah, it's funny because Howie, you and I think we both have that thing where it's like if I'm not out working, I'm losing, right? And that was the mentality I had. It was like every time I took a day off, I wasn't enjoying my day off. I was thinking about, oh wow, well I just lost a lot of money today, and that's the worst mentality.
But for me, it's even different than that. I don't at this point in my career. I mean, this is a weird thing to say, but I realize that. For me, stand-up comedy at this point in my life is not even about money. That's where I thrive. That's my connection to people that I don't know. I say something I think it's funny, and then a room laughs, even if it's 5 people in a room. When I go out and I play, and whether I'm playing a casino, a theater, or whatever, when I'm in that town and I'm not coming home that night, I'll always say to the driver, is there a club that's still open? I love to drop in even when there's 5 people in the room and nobody gives a shit anymore. They've been there for 5 hours and I can just go there and connect. So I feel totally disconnected now.
I'm the same way. I can go up anywhere. But what I was getting at with the 110 miles is I didn't want to sell shoes again. And I literally would sacrifice everything to be on that road and make sure that my son is going to be provided and not have to worry about what I had to go through. And with this pandemic, if I can take one thing out of this pandemic, was it made me realize just how important just 1 or 2 extra days really were. Like just spending these weekends with my son. I literally has seen my son grow. And if this pandemic didn't happen, I probably wouldn't have seen him go from literally the beginning of the pandemic, he was like right by my nose. Now he's like, we're the same height looking at each other. And I saw that in 1 calendar year. And I'm so happy. Like this.
You're lucky and you're making me jealous, because the thing is that all my friends like you who have kids that live with them, they said, the good side of this pandemic is I finally got to go. People are subscribing to my podcast. They just said they subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate it. You can click in my bio and you could subscribe. People got to spend time with their kids. For me, I've been married for 41 years now. My kids are grown and married, and a lot of them have kids. So I haven't been able to spend time with my kids. My daughter won't, I climb a tree and look through the window at my grandkids. So I haven't really got to hug them in like a year. It's been horrible.
That feels so bad, but it's coming. Now with the vaccines all coming out, and things are going to start picking up. And
I feel like there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, and your OCD is clearing up, kinda. Kinda?
No,
No, it's
no, no,
I
no, no. This didn't help it. I moved my therapist into a whole new tax bracket this year, and I've doubled my medication. You have no idea how medicated I am right now as I talk to you. In fact, like some of the people who are watching, like Preacher said, why are you talking to yourself? I feel like I'm this close to being unconscious right now.
I want to say this real quick. Sarah Reg068 is from Canada, and she's so happy that you're live right now because you are Canadian king, man. You are, you're Canadian born. You own the Montreal JFL, Just for Laughs.
I'm one of the partners. Yes, that
Let's
just
just
for
say,
laughs, which we
let's
hope
yeah.
comes back this July. And they awarded you 2 years ago. I got the honor of awarding you the comic of the year, right? Stand-up comic of the year, which is huge. For those who are on here who don't know, the JFL is the epitome of everything comedy. Anybody who's anybody goes there, has come from there. The Dave Chappelle's, the Kevin Hart's, the Tim Allen got discovered there, and he right here, this young man on top of me, he got the comedy of the year. You're on top on everybody's screen, right?
Oh, that was awesome, man. That was the best. Thank you. And then finally, I got to win that award. And then you presented it to me. That was just what a special night too. Tiffany Haddish won comedian, comedian actress of the year or actor.
Yeah, new face. Didn't she win like the new face of the year, or the new up and coming?
No, she won comedian. She was for her movies.
For movies, yeah.
And Little Rel won, and gosh, I can't remember everybody.
Kevin Hart won something.
He presented to Tiffany. That was a special night, and
that was
what a great night. Do you?
It wasn't. I know you say it's a special night, but you realize it was noon.
What?
It was like in the afternoon, but that's okay.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It was. Howie, when you reminisce about Canada, because that's where you started your stand-up, correct?
Yeah, yuck yucks.
What yuck yucks? And was it your dream to make that move to the States, or it just blew up?
No, it wasn't even my dream. I hear you talking with Bobby Lee. You and Bobby Lee started out together, and when I hear you guys talking about this was always your dream or always your I was, I went to the Yuck Yucks Comedy Club to see comedy in April 19th, 1977. And the reason I went, that was still the height of, disco, and I wasn't a disco. I'm not a dancer. I'm not a drinker. I don't play sports, and I don't play poker with friends. So I just went to see it. The host or the owners, Mark Breslin, said, would anybody like to get up? I mean, at midnight, we'll have amateurs get up and do 3-minute sets. And the people at my table said, you should get up and do it. And I went, okay, just like I told you. I didn't think about it. And if I was to think about what the joke would be, I didn't prepare or anything. The joke was going to be, somebody was going to say, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel. And I was not a comedian. And it would be funny. That would be the joke. And I remember, and I've told this a few times recently, but if you look at my old YouTube act, it wasn't really an act. I remember they went, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel. I walked out on stage, and I thought it'd be funny for the two friends that I had in the audience. Look, this stupid idiot is standing on stage. Ta-da! And this from a stage. I was blinded. I'd never been in front of a spotlight. I was blinded by the spotlight. I look at the microphone, but I look down and I see the two front rows, and people are waiting for me to say something. And in that moment, I just got terrified. I went, oh, shit, I have nothing. And that terror went through me. And if you look at my videos, the terror was real. And I started going, okay, all right, okay. And that was my act. People started giggling at me and my nervousness. And then I didn't know why they were giggling. And I'd start going, what? Okay, what? And they started laughing more. And then I put my hands in my pocket, and I've always suffered my whole life from OCD. And I carried rubber gloves. This is in 1977. I had a rubber glove in my head. In my pocket.
I know.
So I just pulled it over my head. I wasn't thinking. I didn't know it was good. And I was breathing. And the fingers were going up and down. And the audience is roaring. And then I blew it up, and it popped off, and they applauded. And I went, good night. And I walked off, and Mark Breslin was in the hallway, and he said, "Can you come back tomorrow?" And I said, "To do what?" He goes, "Do that again." So I went, okay. So then every night I would just hang out at the club, and I thought, I'm working during the day. This is fun to do. And then I came down to LA on some other business. And Mike Binder? Mike Binder had been playing as a professional comedian at Yuck Yucks out of Detroit. And he knew the people down here in LA. And when I was down in LA, he said, "I can get you on at the Comedy Store." He got me on at the Comedy Store for amateur night, and a guy by the name of George Foster, who was a producer of a comedy game show called Make Me Laugh, was in the audience. Yes. And when I was walking off, he goes, "You want to do TV?" And I, "Yeah, listen, this is so LA." And he hired me that next day to go do Make Me Laugh. And then I flew back, and I had a normal day job in Toronto, and I started getting calls from it. This wasn't airing in Canada. "Can you come back and do Mike Douglas?" And I went back and I did the Mike Douglas show. And then it was all it was okay. And if you look at my young comedian special, I got hired that same year to do a young comedian special on HBO. Yeah. And the kids that were on my special with me that were thinking of making it, you might remember some of the names. It was Jerry Seinfeld, crazy, Richard Lewis, Harry Anderson. The hosts were the Smothers Brothers. And that thing blew me out, at that time, being on TV, the next day it was not the same. I was selling theaters, and I didn't have an act.
I gotta ask. So your first time ever on stage was your closing act that I saw on your HBO special when you pulled out the glove.
That's the first thing I ever did.
On stage, you pulled out the rubber glove, blew it up, and then you ended up doing an hour special, and that's what you closed with, because I watched that special.
Yeah, well, so that's that, and then that was that rubber glove bought me my first house. It's so stupid. And I remember I got on, I remember, it's so bizarre that, to me, I had nothing. And also it created kind of a friction with other comedians, because I'd come down to the Comedy Store, and that was the boom. That was when it was exploding. The host was David Letterman. Richard Pryor was on every night putting together Live on the Sunset Strip. He had just got out of the hospital after burning himself freebasing. I mean, I was I was not in a school play. I didn't want to be I didn't know anything about show business. I didn't think about being a comedian. And I think a lot of the other comedians hated me because they realized that I didn't have an act. Yeah. And I was getting all these jobs and selling hard tickets. And, it was, nobody is more thrilled, excited, and still bowled over today than me about still working 45 years later.
I'm amazed, man. It's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. The official Skittles says, "Absolutely love you, Howie. You're my icon." And just like me, I say the same thing. You're iconic.
Oh, I love you too. You're the icon, buddy. And you got the book out. Mixed Plate.
Look, you're in it.
Where am I?
Right there.
Oh wow! Is that at the JFL?
That's when I won Stand-Up Comic of the Year.
Oh wow! Look at that lineup. Look who's standing there with him, with Joe. Joe you had a shot. I remember your suit from that day. That black suit. It was looked like Prada. Yeah, you're a very stylish guy. Yeah, I know it's Prada. I always look. I follow you on Instagram. You're, people don't know this, or maybe they do. You're kind of a style icon.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I love you, Hal.
I love you, buddy.
That was amazing.
Is it over? This is over, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
All right. So subscribe to my podcast and you'll come on, right?
Yes, I want to be on. And what's most important though is, with everything that's going on, I think we should point that out. With the Stop Asian Hate right now, and the AAI awareness, and I love the fact that we got two guys here that just embrace cultures and loving life, and if we can get more of those ignorant, evil people to learn, you know what I mean, and to love.
I really don't understand what's going on in the world. I find it so depressing to see what people are doing, and this targeting of any race, any other human being is so ridiculous. I mean, we really are all in this together, the whole planet, everybody. And it's just so crazy that there are idiots out there who find targets for what I believe is no reason at all.
Not at all.
And no.
But I love you, Howie, because you've always been that guy that supports anybody, no matter what race, creed, religion you are. It's all love, and we need more of you and more of that in the world right now, especially.
Thank you,
man, from the bottom of my heart, you're my idol, you're my icon, you're everything, man. So
thank you.
thank you.
Well, congratulations on Mixed Plate, and subscribe to Howie Mandel Does Stuff. That's the name of the podcast.
Buy my book.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love you too, buddy. Bye.